Good morning, everybody. I've been hiking for a half hour. I've only gone 7/10 of a mile. Usually I would have gone a mile by now. That tells you how bad the trail is. Right now I'm in exit mode, trying to get to Marion so I can arrange to get home. However, it's going to take, well, today's Sunday. If I'm lucky, I'll get there by Tuesday. If it ends up being even slower than I'm anticipating, it could be Wednesday. A new day begins. I will show you any views that I happen to see. But right now, I'm just making my way through a very, very beat up trail. This is pretty now, but you can tell a few days ago, all of this would have been underwater. But for today, a nice little view. So this is what the trail is like in areas without blowdowns. Number one, sometimes it's hard to follow the trail. Number two, even without big old trees blocking the trail, all of these smaller branches make the going slow because they're trying to trip you up. And onward I go. Hello, everybody. A complete change of plans. You may notice that I am sitting on a downed tree that I have to climb over and around to go back down that way because that's where the trail is. But a complete change of plans. I'm actually heading north, going back to the Worry Feet Hostel, where I will get a shuttle driver to drive me to Roanoke, and I can take the train to Wilmington. As I kept hiking south, the trail was getting worse and worse. Younger hikers may have enjoyed scrambling over blowdowns, but I got to tell you, it was taking a toll on me. I was down to a mile an hour hiking. And at that rate, it would have taken me forever to get to Marion. I probably would have run out of food before I got to Marion. And the trail was getting progressively worse heading south, which is understandable. Now, some might say, you idiot, you should have done this all along, just bailed back in Bland, Virginia. But you have to understand the mentality of a long-distance hiker. We want to get the miles in. We will do everything we can to get the miles in. And I was attempting to use Marion as kind of, a punctuation mark, as it were. I knew I was going to have to bail, but I was going to try to get to Marion as a good breaking point. A younger hiker might be able to do it. I'm not that young hiker. And my safety is more important than my pride. So as much as I hate to give back terrain, as it were, go back over territory I've already hiked, that's what I'm doing because it is the right thing to do. Since I'm not going over any new terrain, I don't know whether I will video anymore. Because any sites you've already seen, I've already videoed them. But if anything interesting comes up, I will video it. So My Sobo journey is ending with me heading back Nobo for a few miles before I can head home. So this will probably be it for today, unless something interesting comes up. But I will see you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. Well, this will be my last day of hiking for a while. I'm thinking of this as the hurricane hiatus. Don't worry, I will be getting back on trail. But I am heading back to the pickup point where Julie left me off, I guess it was 2 days ago now. And then I'm going to find my way home. Heading back over a section of trail that I've already hiked has confirmed that my decision is the right one. This section of trail, bad as it is actually relatively unscathed in comparison with what's farther south. And I just can't imagine certainly the physical obstacles up ahead. Down trees. I mean, there have been down trees on this section, but they were fairly easy to go over. You could still see the trail ahead of you. But when I tried to push on farther south, there was blowdown after blowdown after blowdown. Sometimes it was hard to pick up the trail again, and that was only going to get worse as if I attempted to go even further south. So, as difficult as a decision as it was for me, and it was a difficult decision, it was the right one. But anyway, a new day begins. As always, if there's anything interesting, I will show it to you. But we've already been over this section of trail before, and I've got about 10 miles or so. I've already done a few miles, just so you know. I've got about 10 miles before I get picked up. So, see you later. There is absolutely no getting through that. I will have to go around it. Some residents of the forest are doing well. That's the first frog of that size that I've seen in a while. Gotta love Southwestern Virginia. Taking pot shots at the Appalachian Trail sign. I'm about a half mile from where I'm going to get picked up, so this will likely be my end of the day video. It's kind of interesting. I've been exchanging emails with some of my hiker friends who are further up the trail. And we're all doing the same thing. Getting off trail and trying to find a way home. Lady Slipper and Vireo were both able to make it to Marion. Although in the case of Vireo, she actually wasn't able to hike all the way to Marion any more than I was. She was able to get picked up at a road and shuttled into Marion. I wasn't even able to do that. Gator, who is about maybe 2.5 weeks ahead. Well, let me put it in perspective. Prior to the storm, based on my daily rate of hiking, I was somewhere between 5.5 to 6 weeks out from finishing the hike. As I said, Gator, 2.5 weeks ahead. He had to be so close to the finish he could taste it. But he also got forced off. I think he's in Hot Springs. But we're all doing the same thing. We're doing what's right. We're doing what's safe. Now, at the shelter that I stayed at for 2 nights, because that's the shelter I went to, tried to continue my hike, turned around and went back to that same shelter. I met a friend of Virio's, Dr. Sriracha. Now, Dr. Sriracha did kind of an interesting flip-flop. She also started in Harper's Ferry and went north, like Ladyfinger, Virio, and myself. But she flipped all the way back to Springer in Georgia and is hiking north to Harper's Ferry. So she's in a position where she can actually finish her hike because she's hiking northward away from the area of destruction. So as long as we don't get another storm that affects the part of the trail that she's going to be on, she's going to be able to get to Harper's Ferry. So I only met her that one night, but good for her. You know, we all want to finish our hikes if we are able to. Those of us going south, the circumstances are what they are. But for Dr. Sriracha, you go, girl. Maybe I'll see you later, maybe I won't. All right, so I am off trail and I am not at Weary Feet. Now, the person who runs Weary Feet, Julie, is an absolute angel. Excuse me while I make my way up this little hill. It's not even open because they don't have electricity back yet. She was going to let me stay there regardless. But I basically didn't want to do that to her. You know, a person staying in your closed business. Oh, excuse me. So the shuttle driver that's taking me to Roanoke tomorrow suggested that I come to Parisburg to Angel's Rest. Angel's Rest is where I've stayed at before. So that's what I did. And now what I'm doing is I'm walking to get something to eat because fortunately for me, Angel's Rest is near several restaurants. That's what I was walking through the woods. There's a little blue blaze path to get me to the back of the shopping center where the restaurants are. So I'm getting some food now. And then tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I'm getting picked up by Don. He's taking me to Roanoke while I'm catching the train home. I did what I could do. I will be an AT hiker, complete AT, some way, shape, or form. It's just the final, I haven't really figured out how many miles it is. It's in the neighborhood of 575 or 580, not exactly sure how much. I will get those miles done. They'll just have to wait till spring. And it might not be as early as I want it to be. If I complete those miles by April 27th, I will still be considered a thru hiker. Now, does that mean anything to anyone other than me? No, but I always wanted to be a thru hiker. But parts of the trail are so devastated, they may not be open next year early enough for me to do a thru hike. However, completing those 575, 580, whatever the number ends up being, will make me an AT hiker. And that's going to happen no matter what. So, onward to some food, and then home tomorrow. Hello everybody. Better bring it in closer so that you can actually hear me. I am at the Roanoke train station, just waiting for my train to arrive to take me home. I did have a nice stay at Angel's Rest Hiker's Haven. It's interesting that, the hostels that are north of the devastated area are, concerned about the areas south, and including they're not really rivals as far as hostel owners are concerned, because these hostels are farther down the line. They're colleagues, and so they're concerned about colleagues. They're concerned about the communities south of them, and certainly they're concerned about what it's going to be like next year. But in spite of the circumstances, it was a nice day. There were other hikers, solo hikers coming in, not all of whom had a really good feel for just how bad things were further south. Since I was one of those people that had been further south than them, I was able to give them a first-hand account of how things were in an area that was just glanced by the hurricane. It was bad enough. And so those areas that were really hit hard, well, the devastation is almost unimaginable. But I'm heading home. Part of me is thrilled because I will see family again. But, there's a lot of disappointment too. And that disappointment is shared by some of my fellow hikers that I've been in communication with. Whether they were further down the line than I was, we're all experiencing the same thing. The right decision to get off the trail, but a decision that was reluctantly made. Reluctant, but right. Anyway, I'm here about an hour early, so I'm just sitting and waiting for my train to arrive. Train arrived and is left on time, and now I'm heading home.